It came this morning, Carl. Thank you.
Right. So if there's anything you ever want to write for it, because we've got an overhaul of everything that we're doing, and the other thing is I want to say that if you ever want to drop into West Wales anytime to see the animals and so on, then you're very welcome, because that's all part of your membership now, Bill.
Thank you. You'll have to send me exact directions, Carl.
Well, I'll send you right. The best thing to do when you get to Lampeter, we'll direct you in. That'll do.
No, that won't work. I need in advance where you are exactly, which field or fields.
Bill,
Which
Bill,
lane?
we have to be here when you're here anyway.
No, I need to know where it is.
Bill, it's all right. Chill, man. You're getting stressed.
Right. Send me the map reference.
Henry's already got it. Right. I gotta.
CIA.
Hang on. You said MI5, didn't you?
Right. No, anyway. CIA. The boys from Virginia are after you again.
Virginia, not Carolina. Right. Okay. What was I going to say? Right. I wanted to mention. Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Henry. I won't mention it to the other one, but but class fees for the next 2 months are now due. Okay. Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Bill.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Somebody's winding me up now. That is not me. I am on. Right. Whoever that is. Whoever that is, Richard, let him in.
I have let him in. No one's come up.
Right, Bill.
Yeah.
The address for checks and stuff has changed, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I give you that address, that's the same address of where we are.
Okay, give it to me, or email it to me, or whatever you want to do.
But okay, so I'll you right, Bill.
Yep.
You do still get text, do you?
Yeah, I'll send by text then. You got my mobile number, haven't you?
Okay, I'm not going to read it out on the screen, but I'll give you the last 2 digits. 1 second.
Okay.
Right. Your last 2 digits are 79. Is that correct, Bill?
No, that is my landline.
Oh my God! And Bill,
you need my mobile number.
Start again. The last 2 digits are 53.
Yes.
Right. Whoever Karl-James Langford is on here, can you say hello?
Is it the real one? Hello.
No, I'm the real one. Right. Okay. Right. What I'm going to do, whoever Karl-James Langford is, right, I'm going to change their name because I want to know who they are as well. We're going to change their name to not Karl-James Langford. Right. Okay. That will make a lot of sense. Thank you. So one person on you is called Karl-James Langford, and the other one's called Jimbo. Forget it. Right. Okay, we are live. Are we live online? Are we? Oh yeah, we're live. We've been live on YouTube for a few moments. Right. Okay. Oh, do it, Richard. Bring it on. Right. Good. I want to know, guys. Is there any news from anybody this week?
Did you see my video of the Spanish Roman soldiers?
Anne, we'll do you in a minute. I'm going to do Bill. Bill, is Bill, any news from you, Bill?
Well, as you know, I was in Crete last week.
Oh, right. That's it. Tell us all about it.
Well, I thought I'd try to find some archaeology, and I did. I found the remains of a Minoan fortress, castle, building. Not much left.
Nice.
That's all I could assess. The walls were about 2 foot high, about 8 foot wide.
Hang on, 8 foot. So we've got to translate this into 2 meters wide. Right, okay, fair enough.
Okay, and there were just 2 sides of a square plan for the building left. I estimated it was something like maybe 100 meters by 100 meters. It is a recognized Minoan remains, but nothing much there really. A lot of rock and scrub and stones and wild animals and birds and things. But it was interesting anyway. So it's obviously it was a substantial building. That's my bit. The rest of the time I was just sunning myself and playing with my grandchildren.
Good, good. Well, we do have a bit of feedback, and I've no idea where it's coming. Anyway, thank you for that, Bill. If you have got a nice one single image you want to put in the next magazine, then we'll have it in Bill's special places. We'll call it.
I will think of something, Carl. Okay.
Yeah, on Crete. What we'll call it'll be Bill's special places, and they got to guess where it is. Right, that'll do.
Okay, then I'll do that. Yeah. Okay.
No, because what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get this whole sort of we're all together sort of community stuff, you know, whatever, and that's what we're doing. So we're more pally. So
Okay.
and Anne, I mentioned earlier on about class fees. Thank you for that. Feedback. And Anne, I mentioned
Oh dear. Start again.
Why have we got feedback? Why have we got?
Oh dear.
Right, Anne. It's coming from your thingy, right? So we'll come to back to you in a minute.
That's better.
Right, okay, Henry, anything you want to say, love? Right.
No news from this end.
That'll do.
There's still feedback coming through, though.
Yeah. That's true. Right. Okay. What I want to know, right, is I want to know if there's any news from you, wonderful, Richard.
Well, the only thing, I don't know if anyone else saw it. It was on the TV. I think it must have been on the news.
Hang on a minute. Are you paying your TV license?
Yes, I paid my TV license, and I've paid you.
Yeah, all right then. Okay, well, I appreciate Richard. I really appreciate you paying me. Right, it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else saw it, but it was some film from Pompeii, and it was virtually like torrential rain.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, as you've got the streets, the actual sort of pavements, raised pavements, isn't it? Cart track is sort of lower down with grates and sort of stepping stones across.
Yeah.
And virtually, with watching this water flooding through.
Well, this is now, is it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But you can imagine them having heavy rain at the time.
Yeah.
How it would have all worked. All the shops were perfectly dry and up out of the water, so the only things that would have been getting wet really would be the wheels of the carts. People could cross the roads on those stepping stones that you sort of seen to be placed, with those great big blocks that were set across the road. And it was a good example of how that street would have worked.
So I'm really intrigued by what you're saying, right? Because it's like, what you're saying is that there's another more practical purpose for the way the streets are designed. Is that what we're saying? What was the conclusion that they come up with? What was this on the BBC?
I don't know what it was on. It was just I was between channels, sort of looking. I thought, what the hell is this? And virtually they just showed this one shot.
Yeah.
Of the water, but you could see that everything you've sort of said about it.
Yeah.
And it did work, with sort of going on about drainage and, they virtually acted like rivers.
Yeah, I want to see this bloody programme. It's basically everything that we've been talking about.
I know. I'll see what I can do. I'll have to look, see if I can find what it was actually on through there.
Yeah. Oh, Dell's joined us, which is absolutely brilliant. Dell, you're not Karl James Langford, are you?
No. No.
Oh, don't. Right, for once, right, occasionally, Dell, right, we have a little bit of a joke, right? And sometimes I have two things on at the same time.
Well, I was going to
Tonight,
wear
I
a red
don't.
dress.
Yeah, this time I'm not wearing a red dress, and we don't even know who this extra Karl James Langford is.
Oh.
So there's somebody out there who's pretending to be me that isn't actually me for once, and the person that isn't marked as Karl James Langford is me, and I'm marked as Jimbo.
That's what confused me and why I'm late getting on.
I don't even go there, right? So, Del, any news from you, darling?
Yeah, I'm still trying to find out more about these
Stones.
discoveries in Markham Park.
I thought you were on about the stones that you've been looking at. What in regards to the one, but basically, you did you have the magazine that
Yeah, I've
basically
had both your magazines. I've had 2 in 1 week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know that's worked out. Oh, you've had 2 different Archaeology Company magazines in a week.
Yes.
All right, fair enough. I don't know how that's worked. Okay, fair enough. So you're still trying to work out the Markham Park thing. Obviously, I was meant to be the archaeologist working in 1997.
Yes.
And Del, there is something else, right? I read some paperwork not so long ago, right? And the Glamorgan and Gwent Archaeological Trust that was at the time was blocking Swansea University from doing any work, right? Now the Glamorgan and Gwent Archaeological Trust has ceased to exist. That's how the university was able to work at Margam. So they were not just blocking. That's why Swansea University have only just done work at Margam, because they had been stopped from doing work there as well. So it wasn't just me. That was one surprise. Henry had a good old joke with me. He said, "Oh, look, Karl, you've upset Swansea University." I hadn't. It was actually they had been stopped from doing work there as well, which is something that I've just actually found out. So that's adding to the Margam thing. But I will say one thing, Del, right? That there's a lot more stuff gone on in regards to the Roman period at Margam than was actually in the article. There's another site in Margam and the length of road I was involved in and the article. So
yes, I know the area very well. I've walked the hills all around. I've looked at all the maps. Even historic ones, and aesthetic ones, of course. And
yeah.
Lily, shut up. And yeah, it would be absolutely lovely if some organization could organize a proper LiDAR thing over those hills to see exactly what's there.
Well, I'm going to stop you at this minute. There's something happening with what we're doing with archaeology community as we are now. We've got somebody else on board, and we're going to be changing what we're doing, and it might involve LiDAR and different things. And this person that's getting involved is a lot more radical than I am, right?
Oh,
so a lot more radical. So we'll just see how that goes. There's a lot more happening, and we just thought I'd mention that. So right, anyway, good to have you on, Del. So we'll as I mentioned, thanks everybody paying the class fees for this month. Anyone that needs to pay the class fees, get them over to me as soon as possible. The usual £50 for the next 2 months. Thank you for those that have actually paid. We're also selling rhubarb if anyone's interested. We said we had 2 lots of people who bought rhubarb off us on Tuesday, so we just sent them in the post now, and it was just quite interesting that the actual Romans introduced rhubarb into Britain. Did you know that they did? And rhubarb was actually used as a herb, not actually as a food. And rhubarb, amazing enough, Del, that you might need to know, is good for kidney and liver.
Yes, I do know, because my family have grown it for years because they kept horses. And can you imagine the size of the rhubarb stems? Not those little thin things, finger thin.
Big things. Yeah. Big things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proper rhubarb.
Proper
I
rhubarb.
absolutely love the stuff.
But hang on a minute. If it's really thick, proper. No, right. Okay. Right. Just talk about this a minute. I've always thought that the thicker rhubarb is going to be more tough and so on. But you're saying the thicker rhubarb is as good as the smaller rhubarb?
Yeah, you just peel the outer thingy off and render it down in a tiny bit of water with some sugar or honey.
Michelle said that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle said that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I told her we should be using honey.
Yes.
Rather than sugar. Yeah, exactly.
And I found a source of local honey.
Oh, I got some Greek local honey.
Oh, it's
no.
No,
stop showing off about your Greek local honey.
Yeah.
No, I found some from Newton. Puffcall honey.
Oh.
Guys, can I make an announcement? The person pretending to me is actually Anne.
Oh, I thought so.
Have you noticed? But Anne is the not Karl-James Langford.
Karl-James Langford. I like you called Jimbo. Actually, everything's working fine now.
Yeah, no, it really. Right. We're going to press wood. We're not going to say anymore. But Jarden online.
I'm going to switch my sound off because the dog is going to be coming back and forth barking.
Right.
Fair enough. Me and
gonna try and get on
thank
now.
you for that, Del. Right. I'm gonna mention that Bill, that Jarden Hugh has mentioned. Bill has got 3 books about Turkey, 3 about Greece, but only 1 about Magum and Maesteg, the Linvi History Society. Lol. I don't know what the hell that means. But we've got loads of books on Greece and Barry, loads of books on Turkey, and we've got a few on Magum and Linvi History Society as well. So that's.
Hang on.
What's that?
But Pat is going to try and get on now.
That's my book on the antiquity.
Oh.
That's my book.
Hey, Bill. Del needs one of those books.
Yeah, can you advertise it, please, or send me something?
No, I can't really. There are 300. There was one in Pyle Library, Del.
Can I nick it?
Oh.
Well, you can go to the Pyle Library and ask. You know. Yeah, no, they all sold out. 300 sold out quickly, actually.
Oh,
that's great.
But try Pyle Library.
Oh, that's good. But I will try. Yep. It's not far from me.
Yeah.
Going over to Pyle.
Do you know what? I think. I think we need to get on. Okay. Right. Okay. We're going to crack on, guys. So, I've totally forgotten what we're meant to be doing. Anyway, it's good to have you on, Pat. Pat, I mentioned. I don't know if you've done it, but I mentioned that anyone that needs to pay class fees for the next 2 months for get it over £50, whatever anyone needs to do, or if you've paid, that's done. Right, we've done that bit. What's that?
I did my standing order from the 21st, so you won't get it until the 21st, unless you want me to change my standing order.
And whatever you've done, I'm happy with it. Right, we're gonna crack on, guys. We're gonna crack on. So yeah, it's good to have a nice number tonight. The only one who's not here is Goff, but I think he'd have lost the will to live by now. Right, but oh, look at that. There is a really nice image on my screen. So what I need to do, I need to get to the other images. Okay. Yeah, the really nice image is me. I know. I can't help. Just a bit of vanity. The only reason Pat came back is she likes to look at me. That's the reason. Right. So, are we looking at the screen? What can you see on the screen, boys and girls?
The film house.
Go on, tell me.
The film.
Right, Anne, you've got to say that word. Tier film, right? Okay. Now, I like occasional things that jump up on my computer, right? And this was one of them, right? And this actually led me on to mention about the Caligula film, right? And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Caligula film that most of you have not seen yet. The film that I made, but I just thought that this anchor is associated with one of not three boats that we know on Lake Nini. They found the third more recent. So the two were drained out the lake up until 1932 under the fund put into our Mussolini. In fact, I actually as an archaeologist in Benito Mussolini's Italy, right, I would have had quite a nice plump job. So this is why I think Benito Mussolini is great, because he put so much money into archaeology, including the draining of Lake Nemi, right? And basically, this is one of the anchors, right? And it talks about this anchor. There are two types of Nemi anchors or Lake Diana anchors, as with the description, both made of wood and metal. This one is wood with iron-tipped flukes. There's an iron-tipped fluke where my hand is there. One of which can clearly be seen in front of the man. The stock was made of lead to help the anchor sink. The other type of anchor found was made of iron bars sheathed in wood. And you're just thinking that this is all sort of standard Roman era technology, but it's really interesting to get an idea of the naval side of the Roman world. And I just want to chuck this in here. Occasionally I see really interesting images like this. And as it says in the description, so we'll go on to the next image. We'll go on to, oh, hang on, is it there? No, I got to go back to this one. Sorry. If we look there, look at that there. It's the original rope. That's the original rope that would have been on there approximately AD 39. We don't know when the boats on Lake Nemi went down, but obviously when the likes of Caligula was assassinated in January in AD 41, it's likely that the three boats were abandoned. There may have been more, but this is Roman technology. This is Emperor Caligula putting money into these boats on the lake, and obviously all the amazing architectural work that Caligula was responsible for building. I am rebuilding Caligula's memory, right? Oh, and by the way, this is completely not linked to anything. Anyone who wants to, I'm bringing some of my ghost walks back, right? So we've got 3 ghost walk dates. Anyone who's actually a paid up member of Archaeology Company gets to go on my ghost walks free. So if you want to go on some of my ghost walks, we've got one from the Cowbridge Roman Road coming up. We've got one around Cowbridge, and we've also got another one which is destined for September, and I've totally forgotten what locality that one is. But UNE. So there we go. So anyone who wants to go on these, and you're a paid up member of Archaeology Company, you go on these ghost walks free. And actually, I can actually give you the dates now if you want. So if I give you the dates for your diary, but you need to let me know you're going to be there. I do believe we've got one on the 31st of July. Hang on a minute. I'm just trying to find the dates a minute. If you bear with me, folks. Right, bear in with me. I'm just going to try and get the date if you're interested in the ghost walks. Yeah, we've got one the 31st of July, Friday, 7 p.m. That's Cowbridge Road. Meet at the Old Mulligans. You need to let me know. 14th of August, Friday, 7 p.m. We're meeting inside Cowbridge at Holy Cross Church. And UNE, 25th of September, 7 p.m. If you are members of Archaeology Company or Archaeology Community, you get to go on them free, right? So that's a perk of being a member these days. So
sorry, can you repeat
there we go.
one?
Right, as I say, Del, you need to let me know if you want to go on it. The UNE one is the 25th of September, Friday, 7 p.m. 25th of September, Friday. That's meeting opposite the Garden Centre. That's a Friday, and the one before that's the 14th of August, 7 p.m.
Thank you.
And that's good. So you need to let me know, Del. So I will make a note. Yeah, good. Members only are free. Everyone else has to pay tenner a head. So we're trying to make this a community where everybody is part of what we're doing. So Hopefully that's coming across loud and clear. So, oh, the other thing as well is those have actually had a copy of a Lissig Pillar. I know that one of you will have your copy of a Lissig Pillar in the next few days, and that's unfortunately Pat, because Pat was in the last batch of people to be sent out. But I do believe that the rest of you have actually had a copy of a Lissig Pillar. Now, Del, from what you're thinking about the frontage of a Lissig Pillar, which you've just received in the post, would this be better or the one you've got?
I think. I think the one I got. I think the one I got, because it actually shows what's going on inside.
Okay, I like that. Can I have the opinion of Bill? Bill, you've had a recent copy of a Lissig Pillar. Would you prefer the cover on it or this one? Bill? Del, you've upset Bill. He's not saying anything. Right, okay.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Bill wanted this cover on the magazine, right? You can tell. But anyway, I just wanted to ask, right, now, I know we've done this before. We will get on to the subject that we're meant to be doing tonight, but I wanted to ask you guys, right, have all of you seen my 12-minute film on Caligula's invasion of Britain, right, which has deliberately left out some key facts that, in my view, prove that Caligula did invade Britain. There's a few of them missing, right, deliberately. But this whole thing about the film is being picked up by some film festivals around the world, and they want to show it on the big screen. And also, planned in the back of my head is a film which involves reenactors of Caligula's soldiers landing in the fens in Norfolk. Right, so that is planned, and there is something else planned as well, which will be part of that film. We'll be organising a trip to go and see some of the locations that possibly Caligula's troops did land in Norfolk, and this is something in the future. So over to my Roman Britain, and those are basically some of the cards that we actually used in the film, in the 12-minute film. So if none of you have actually seen my Caligula film, I highly recommend you see it. It's on YouTube, and if you haven't seen it, I'll be sending the Caligula link to everybody, and just give it a watch, give it a like, and I'd appreciate your comments. And this is one little thing. Caligula was born in 12 AD 12. He was murdered in AD 41. So he had quite a short life, to be honest with you. But this is the man himself, and when as I mentioned before, when we did Caligula, 10 important references towards Caligula have been erased from history, including the Vitae written by his sister. The history of Caligula has been erased from history as well. Why these things have been erased from history? It's probably to do with the fact they want to destroy the memory of this emperor, the Demete, completely get rid of it, sort of erase him from history, make him look discredited, those films that we've seen. However, my work is to sort of bring this guy back into real history. Now, Henry's fault. Henry's to blame. It's all to do with Henry, and I'm never going to forgive him. Henry, right? With his talking about Ireland, I've actually connected big time with a Dublin museum, right? And they are asking me about what images that I want for my classes, right? In regards to the Roman archaeology that's been found across Ireland. Now, the Roman archaeology has been found across Ireland in a number of localities. And over the next few weeks, we'll be showing you some actual store images from the archives of Dublin Museum of the artifacts, Roman artifacts that have been found in Ireland, and I'm sure Henry will be delighted to see these images as much as you guys will. So let's talk about what we're looking at on the screen, right? This is a load of artifacts that come from Balleen in County Limerick, right? So if you don't know where County Limerick is, there it is, right? The lower part of County Limerick, a place called Balleen. There are several places called Balleen in Ireland, Balline, but this is the Balleen in County Limerick. And so the artifacts that you've got on the screen, this is part of a silver hoard. Now, there's many interesting things about the silver hoard, including these things here. These are actually known, there's three of these. These are known as oxhide silver ingots. These are Roman silver ingots, the real deal. These, when I was looking at these, I thought these are definitely from the 300s. And when were they dated from? Just around the 300s. This is really, really interesting. And the reason why this is really, really interesting is that this is completely different evidence than we would usually associate with Ireland. So the usual evidence that we'd associate with Ireland is early stuff, you know, stuff along the coast, stuff that is associated with burials, right? But this is not associated with a burial. This is classed as a hoard. And there is an end game to try and understand what these are. So oxhide silver ingots from Balline, County Limerick, in a gravel pit. So the hoard contained a total, I said 3 oxhide silver ingots, actually four oxide silver ingots. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And you notice that they've got stamps on them, particularly that one there. There's another one that's got a stamp here. And if you look over here, that's got a real clear stamp.
Carl,
so why the other 3,
Carl, one question.
Bill?
Why have they been cast in these strange shapes? Why not just oblong ingots?
Bill, let's talk about the technicalities. I think these are bits of silver that have been cut out and hammered, shaped into shaped into this form. Bill, they wouldn't, I don't think the Romans would refer to them as oxhide silver ingots, but they look like oxhide. So you can imagine you've got from the way I'm looking at this, right? You've got 4 different ingots, completely different shape, right? But the lettering stamps are really similar, right? When I say really similar, they're not the same, but they're really similar, right? But it's likely that you can clearly see that that's been hammered.
Yes, they've been.
You can see the hammering. This is hammered silver, right? Yeah. This is hammered silver or filed silver, right? This is, you can see that that's been cut off a bigger piece, right? These haven't been poured into a mold. This has been cut. So all of these 4 items here, these oxide ingots, I think this is absolutely fascinating. This is something that I believe that none of you have ever seen before, and I haven't either. The other 3 items, Bill, tying in with your question, Bill, and tying in with my answer, is that that item there, which is a really ornate, that item there and that item, these are from silver bowls and plates, right? All of these are of silver. All of these are of Roman manufacture, obviously silver. So the ingots themselves, these ingots themselves, 3 of them actually have a stamp on them, right? And it's X off Hisatis, X off Vilis, and X O Nonut. Now, I haven't got my Latin head on, but these are official stamps. 3 of these ingots have got official stamps, and obviously they've been cut away, they've been stamped. So now I couldn't work this out because I can't see it. I've looked at this a number of times, but one of the silver ingots has something really, really special in it. Beyond the stamps that we've got, what's really, really special, they've got the Chio Rio symbol on them, right? One of them has got a Chio Rio symbol, which is obviously something that we learned in RE in school, is the Christian symbol. That's the first thing that me and Richard would have learned in Barry Boys Comprehensive School, the Chio Rio symbol in our religious lessons. So this means that these do come from the 300s. Well, at least one of them does. And seeing as the three that has these Latin scripts on them, this is intriguing. So when we think about this, these interesting items link to oxide ingots that have been found at Richborough in Kent. So these ain't just 4 oxide ingots in isolation. There is an example very similar that has been found at the Roman fort at Richborough in Kent. I've not really looked at oxide ingots. There's probably loads of them, but I just wanted to give you a link of Richborough. Richborough is on the other side of Britain, right? Oh, and I made a little bit of a mistake when I was communicating with the Dublin Museum, right? I said I made the remark, I'm trying to link research between the mainland and Ireland, right? And they said, what about Britain? The Irish call the mainland Europe. I thought the Irish called Britain Europe, but they don't. So don't make that mistake when you're talking to somebody from Ireland. So that ingot itself, I think is talking about that ingot there, the one on the right hand side and the one in the middle. These 2 ingots are respectively the same weight. I think the one there is 317 grams, right? That one there. And that one there is 318 grams, which is just over the weight of my Romans in South Wales book. So that's the weight of them. So when we look at this really intriguing, really intriguing stuff, I'm really blown away by that. And I tell you what, if they've got any more illustrations like this, this would be great. I've got to fill out some forms and so on. So I'm not really sure we won't get anything else back from the Dublin Museum next week, but it'll be over the next few weeks. This is the beaded rim of a plate. That one there, a beaded rim of a plate. So you can obviously see that are these scrap objects, are these trade objects, but don't run with that yet. So this itself, this object here on the left, and then this object here on the right. To be honest with you, this makes me think of some of the greater Roman silver works, the one on the right hand side. This is actually from a rectangular dish, a rectangular bowl, whatever you want to call it. So we've got the one on the left is a plate and the one on the right is a rectangular dish. Now, when they're looking at these, right, the one thing that they say about all of these objects, right, is they're probably all over 300 AD 300. So the other thing that they would say is that it's likely that all but one of these artifacts are a British manufacture, right? Not mainland manufacture, British manufacture. Britain. They're manufactured in Britain. So that's really interesting. The one in the middle there, that item is from the mainland. Henry's proud of what I'm saying now. He's saying he's got it all right finally. So this triangular object is actually from mainland Europe. And this shows scenes of 3 horsemen medieval Mediterranean workshop. So thinking about this hoard again, really love this image. This type of hoard containing cut up fragments of silver is known as hack silver, or is it hack silver? And it belonged to a group of late Roman hoards found in northern and western Europe, in places like Denmark and Scotland. Now, hack silver itself is usually something deposited by the Vikings, but because all these objects are from a similar date, this cannot be from a Viking hoard. This has got to be from a hoard which is contemporary with the Roman period, roughly between the 300s and the 400s. Though the Belaine hoard is one of only 4 such hoards, and the only one to have been found in the south-ish of Ireland. It has been interpreted. Now, this is the interpretation. This is where we think. So if we think about, we'll look at that email now. When we think about where this is found, and I'll show you a map a little bit later on, where it actually shows from all the way past Giant's Causeway, which apparently was made last week, wasn't it, Anne? We've got artifacts from Belfast, from the Roman artifacts from Belfast, Dublin, going all the way through to Cork, into the centre of the island. I don't know what's on the other side where Galloway is. There's probably other stuff. Now, thinking about this object of where it was found, just sort of Cork, a little bit further off, Belaine. Say that again?
You do mean Galway?
It's saying in a gravel pit at Boleyn in County Limerick.
Yeah, you said going across to Galloway, Galway.
Oh, right. I thought you were correcting my location. Oh, sorry. Do you want to slap me on the wrist? Galway, not Galloway, Galway. Thank you. I've been corrected. Thank you. How embarrassing. Anyway, thank you for that correction. Galloway. I was thinking about George Galloway. I had my political head on there. Great politician, as we know. Anyway, these artifacts themselves, it has been interpreted as a possible payment to Irishmen serving as foreign auxiliaries in the late Roman army. Now, this isn't my field. I don't know the foggiest about Roman archaeology in Ireland, right? Because there's not a lot known about it. There's not much out there anyway. But for a Dublin archaeologist, a senior Dublin archaeologist, to say that these objects are possibly a payment to Irishmen serving as foreign auxiliaries in a late Roman army, does that change how we look at the Roman period and the interpretation and links between Ireland? So that's a really important statement to make. This is not a group of objects that has been nicked or pillaged from somewhere in Britain, right? The four ones that are actually silver ingots, right? They look like they're trade objects, right? And you could think that these are actually given in payment. And considering that one there in the middle and that one over on the right, these are a similar weight, right? And that one over this side has probably been cut a little bit. They've cut a little bit off to trade, right? This to me looks like the description that this is a payment to somebody who was Irish, who actually served as a foreign auxiliary in the late Roman army. Very, very interesting fact. Very, very interesting information there. And we look at this list as well. I got really excited about Newgrange. Some Roman finds from Newgrange, but we're not going to do that yet. By the way, if anyone's got a copy of my book, Romans in South Wales, it would be very useful, because we're going to be looking at some of these, some of the names of these emperors and where they actually come in to the whole story tonight. So if you've got my book, that would be very, very useful. I'm trying to find it. Oh, there's my book there, but we won't do that in a minute, because I'm going to wait you to get my book. But before we do that, here's a letter. Now, I naively, when I looked at the list of Roman stuff that's been found in Ireland, right, I naively thought that they didn't have much of it in their archives. So I chose 4 random locations, and I basically said, have you got any of this stuff? And they said, we've got it. And I thought, right, okay, we're going to read this, and there's something really odd about the Bray Head stuff. So we have some assemblage from Lambay. Lambay is basically opposite Cardigan Bay, right? It's an island there, right? Anyway, so you've got Newgrange, so sort of vicinity, sort of it's northwest of Dublin. Hopefully I got the location right. You've got Castle Leon as well, or Castle Lion, and it's basically saying, but not so much Roman material and not so many photos of them. But there is stuff in the Dublin archives, that there is Roman stuff from those 3 localities in the Dublin archives, and we've got a list of them as well, which we've got coming up from Newgrange, right? Really interesting stuff. So the skeletons from Bray Head that were supposedly buried with Roman copper coins, here we go, supposedly could be Viking, and the coins never made it to us. So I think the interpretation of that is that are they saying that the skeletons are Viking, or the coins are Viking? But however, typical Irish, right? They disappeared before they got to the museum. So there we go. We don't really know whether they're Roman coins, whether they're Viking coins, whether the Roman coins associated with Vikings. Burials, we don't know, right? And it's talking about the Castle Leon, and it's talking about Roman artifacts getting into the Castle Leon hoard, right? So you are missing probably the best site, but is relatively new, Dramana, which is County Dublin. And we only have 1 photo from there of an older find by Christine Baker. Have been excavating here recently and still have the objects she found. So that's the thing that I've gone through the list of the Dramana stuff that isn't in the museum yet, and it's quite long, which is Roman. So there's a lot more research I've got to do about the Roman archaeology before I can actually present more of it. This is why I've gone back to the museum. So there we go. And there's the thing at the bottom. Yeah, there we go. Mainland to island, but via Britain. What a mistake that was. So shut up, Henry. Henry, it's a mistake that a lot of people make. I'm sure it is. By the way, I learned this really fast in Orkney, right? When you go to Orkney, right, the mainland is not Scotland. The mainland is the main island of Orkney, because Orkney is in an archipelago that's surrounded by little islands. So when you go to some of the islands and they say, "Oh, I've got to go to the mainland tomorrow," they're not talking about Scotland. They're talking about the big island of Orkney, right? Because nothing else exists to people in Orkney. Isn't that right, Bill? Right?
Yeah.
So Bill knows all about that, being in tight crevices with me and ended up getting drunk. Not in that order, guys.
Whiskey galore.
Bill got seduced by a woman who had a lot of whiskey.
Julie
Gibson. Oh,
Julie, yeah.
Julie. So right. What I want to do is I want to discuss this. Is 7:59. We're doing okay for time, so no rush. Now, in my book, you can make out some of these people named, right? And Magnetius, for example. Magnetius is there, and you can think that
What page number? Page number?
Oh, 139, Bill. Sorry. I'll give you time.
Go on then.
Right, go. 1, 2, 3. And we've got to crack on. So there we go. Now, a coin from Magnetius, who comes we're doing a bit of comparison here, Bill, right? So in my book, when you look above the localities where these coins have, say, been associated with constant, there's loads of them. But when you do a comparison with South Wales and you look at a coin with Magnetius, right, from roughly 350, right, there's none of these being found in South Wales, but there's Magnetius coins actually being found at Newgrange. There's 2 being found at Newgrange, but these happen to be, one is bronze, and if you go down the list, there's another Magnetius coin, which is bronze. Now, why are these coins at Newgrange? We're going to stop there and we're just going to keep the book open, right? Now, the interesting thing about this is that when we think about the Roman era, right, we've got to think about something quite deep. Now, Richard will tell you this. When they started working in Mr. Ward on the burial chamber at Tinkinswood, they actually found Roman material in there, bits of Roman pottery. And you're thinking, why is Roman material at burial chambers, right? And that's in South Wales, Tinkerswood Burial Chamber, right? So these coins associated with Newgrange, they're obviously associated with the burial landscape at Newgrange, and there happen to be Roman coins associated with the burial landscape at Newgrange. Why are these coins involved with a landscape in Ireland, and these are Roman artifacts associated with the burial landscape? So that's a point, but there are parallels on the mainland. That is a thing. Now, if you go back to my list, if you go over onto page 138, go down to the bottom of the page, you've got Maximinus, right? Now, Maximinus is roughly around 286 to 305. We've got 3 areas of South Wales that actually have coins with Maximinus, but these are likely to be bronze coins. The Maximinus coin found at Newgrange is gold. And this is really, really interesting, right? That they actually happen to be gold coins. I don't know if the person was drunk when they wrote in the coin of Gratian. According to this official Dublin list, it says that the coins of Gratian reigned from AD 367 to AD 837. He didn't. He reigned from 367 to AD 383. Right, so that happens to be a gold coin from Gratian, and the one thing, the Gratian coin itself is actually in the later 300s. So these are not material from anything to do with the likes of Agricola and nothing to do with the AD 80, right? These are way up there. Nearly 300 years later, these coins are being found in Ireland. So again, there's a firm link between Ireland and mainland Britain, right? Now, the next thing, we've got another gold coin of Constantine, early 300s. We've got a bronze coin of Constantine there on that list. Well, copper coin, it's saying there. And then we've got a pendant associated with Constantine. So why are all these gold objects in regards to Newgrange? What is exactly going on? And then, very interesting, right? If we go back to the book again, right? We go to I think it's page 140 in my book, right?
Oh.
And we've got a coin associated with Valentinian, right? Actually, I think that's associated with Valentinian first, which is actually on the previous page, right? Yeah, it's associated with Valentinian the first, which is actually on the previous page, right? Which is 139. We've got a silver coin of Valentinian, right? Again, really, really interesting. But look at that object next on the list, right? It's saying a gold talk fragment with an inscription on it, again, probably into the 300s. That is also found near Newgrange. You've got the Roman coin, silver coin. You've got copper alloy coins. You've got another silver coin. And that is a real clincher. The real clincher is the coin of Theodosius. Now, Theodosius is a massively important figure, right? And why is Theodosius a massively important figure? Did you know Theodosius was known as Theodosius the Great? Now, last night, some of my gang last night went off on a little bit of a tangent, as they do on a Tuesday, right? And when they went off on a little bit of a tangent on a Tuesday, it was the great conspiracy of the year 366 or 367 AD, right? Theodosius was the general back then who reorganized Britain, right? But a coin of Theodosius ends up at Newgrange. Again, why? And this could be a coin dating all the way up to that mark close to AD 400. Theodosius was a Christian Roman emperor. Now you can start to see that there's something very interesting about this. This in the 300s, the middle start of the 300s, when you're talking about Constantine the Great as well, dying in 337, and there's coins of Constantine the Great. He became the first Christian Roman emperor on his deathbed. His mother was nagging and saying, Helena was nagging and said, "Oh, go and turn to Christianity." "Oh, mum, no, I'm dying." If you turn to Christianity, Constantine, right? Constantine the Great, you will go to heaven. And anyway, he converted to Christianity. So anyway, all these other coins, gold Siliduses, Roman coins, and it goes down. We've got saying a cast bronze object again, Roman objects, more silver. Roman ring, panannular brooch, like a circular brooch, that's also been found for the Roman period. Interesting, going down to the bottom, and it's again back in Newgrange again. These are all Newgrange, and it's talking about a faience melon bead. Now, this faience melon bead would have likely have come all the way from Egypt. Again, an object from the Roman era through trade, ending up at Newgrange. And as we go down to the bottom, Magnetius again. We've done Magnetius, and we've got, there we go, gold aureus coins again. More of these coins from Maximian. Now, if we go to Maximinus, who's on this list on page 138 at the bottom, Maximian, and we're thinking again, Maximian would have been still a pagan emperor, right? But his coins end up at Newgrange, and there we go, a copper alloy ingot, Roman Iron Age, whatever. So I think this is really, really interesting stuff. So I think the journey in Ireland is a lot more complex than is shown on the internet. The reason why I went to the Dublin Museum is simply because most of the stuff that I think is there, right, you can't find on the internet. So I thought I'd go directly to the source and try and get some more of these source images. In the meanwhile, I'm in contact with Reading University in regards to the the Roman baths at Silchester, Caliva Atrabatum, which we'll do in a short while. We're doing that tonight. Right. So what I might do, oh, there's a little sheepy. Easy little sheep. So what I might do is rush through my images a minute. And oh, there they are. We're going to go to here. Right. Now this map itself is dated from the 1954, I think. And don't worry, Richard, this is not the one that I took off the wall in the lower school at Barry Boys Comprehensive School. That's the other one. But if you look at this, right, you can obviously see why I'm interested, right? So you've got the Boleyn Hoard that we've just mentioned, a place called Golden, only an island. Castle Leon, we've mentioned that, Cork, Stonyford. So all of these in the southeast of the island. Now the point is these bits of archaeology are marked on the maps, and this is the Roman stuff that we knew of in the 1950s, right, and before. What's been added to this map now, I don't know. Archaeology has changed, right? And unfortunately, the way stuff is being recorded by archaeologists has changed. So I'd love to be able to see what's there now, but it'd probably be 3 or 4 more times the site finds. But I can't get anything like this. I really can't. So you go all the way back up the coast. And interesting enough, when you look at Ireland, you've got these Roman place names, right? The Secrum Promontory, or the Castor Point. Now, this is interesting. These are actually Latin names. These are names on the map of Ireland, right? So the Romans were naturally aware of Ireland. So this is why we've got these location names, and this is why we've got these placial names. So we go all the way up the hub. We've got Brayhead. We mentioned Brayhead. We mentioned Lambay. Some really interesting stuff at Lambay, which obviously we'll do again. Another, the Adruff inlet. There we go. The Isle of Haworth. And we go all the way up. We go to Tara. Newgrange. There's our Newgrange. We just talked about the new find. And if you notice, you get places in the deepness of Ireland, a place known as Clones there. Henry have probably been to all these places on a pub crawl. So again, look at this when you go to the northern part of the island, Northern Ireland, Barron's Court. That's way in. That's way in. Place called Carn. We've got obviously other localities, which we've got Anismore and Mora, Belfast, Loche, Downpatrick. You go to the top of the island, and what you've got is loads of other interesting localities. And you've got Bromavum Promontory, the Bloody Foreland as it's known today, but that was named in the Roman period, right? As all these different sort of the Vidva flow, Loch Foyle. There we go, Malin Head with its Roman counterpart. So this is really, really intriguing. So for people to turn around to say that there's no Roman link with Ireland is completely wrong. The archaeology tells us the same thing in regards to the locational names that the Romans have actually given in regards to the Irish landscape. And I think at that note, I think we've Romaned ourselves out there. And it would be good to sort of finish maybe about 9:10, right? So unlike last week where I think we went on until nearly 10 o'clock, which I'm not going to do. Pat fell asleep. No, we're not going to do that. It'd be about 9:10 tonight. But anyway, let's just sort of see what you've got. And I've got to feed the sheep scissors. Right, we've got to feed the sheep scissors. And Anne's got a cheek to call herself Karl-James Langford. We've got to do something about that, Bill. We've got to. Right. Okay. Let's just get you all up on the screen.
I'll tell you what I got.
As they say, it's great to have you tonight. So, Annie, babes.
What?
Anne.
What?
You've got to say something, Anne.
Oh.
And if it wasn't for you, Pat wouldn't be here tonight. So we've got to appreciate that. We've got to love yourself, right? So, Anne, anything you want to say?
I was going to show you my moustache. I've got a false moustache.
No, Anne, we don't want to see a false moustache. Anne, what were you trying to say earlier on before we lost a little bit of the sound because you wanted to say something?
Oh, I can't remember, but all I know is that there was some information. Oh yeah, there was I sent you a video of marching Roman Spanish soldiers.
Oh, Spanish
real.
soldiers.
Obviously, they were
From the 9th Hispanic Legion.
Did I send them to you?
Yeah.
It looked very,
I can't check, but if you have
good.
sent them to me, I really appreciate that.
And also, there was
Okay.
a
Anyway,
Bronze
thank you for that, Anne.
I know it's the wrong period, but there's a Bronze Age skeleton being found in County Antrim, and that's from the
Island Link.
Ireland, Northern Ireland.
Tap the word here, sir.
Hmm?
Shandafoil. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. So Bronze Age burial in Northern Ireland.
That's
Brilliant.
enough. I tell you what, there's more, early settlements in Northern Ireland than in South. Yeah, because they had like hills, like cliffs. It's higher up there.
Higher top of the world, sir.
Higher.
I must have to
It
find
was a very small skeleton. It was a nice skeleton, but people thought it was unusual. But some other people said they thought it was just like today's skeletons. Not wrong. It was okay. An okay skeleton.
Anyway, thank you for that, Anne. Thank you for that. Bill, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I was looking at your book, okay? You were talking about artifacts on page 139, and my book finishes at 129.
Hang on,
So
that's because you should have that one.
That's the one, yeah, I thought so. So have I got that one? I think I have, haven't I?
I got two of yours.
Haven't you got the Romans? Right, Bill, if you haven't got the Romans in South Wales, I'll send you one.
I think I got. I'll have a look now, Carl. That's the one I've got, right? The original.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, thank you for that, Bill. You need
nothing else. Oh.
Okay, then. Okay. Right, what about you, Del?
Yeah, I got all the books, but they're downstairs. I'm upstairs at the moment, so I can't access them. Yeah, that was fascinating.
Anything you want to say? Okay, good.
Yeah, I think all this stuff was basically trade.
It's all what?
Trade.
Yeah, could be.
If you see peaceful trade, maybe that's the point. Peaceful trade.
Paying for wives.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Well,
dowries.
Henry knows all about that. Henry, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I sent you a couple of messages on WhatsApp. One is the point that Richard brought up about Pompeii. If you look at the Archaeological Park of Pompeii official webpage, you can find a link to the video showing the downpour.
Yeah, I would really like to see that. So that's on the official page, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. The website, Pompeii, and then we got the downpour. Right. Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that. Thank you. Anything else from you, Lovely?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm related to one of the past directors of the National Museum for Ireland.
What do you mean? Unfortunately.
Family history.
Oh, right. Okay. Somebody's asking if Struppel-dump is related to Obelstrom dump. And Henry's asking online. Not Henry. Hugh. Anyway, thank you for that, Henry. Don't tell him anything, Henry. Anything from you, Pat?
Just I like seeing the silver things. They're amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing, considering it's not the type of thing that you would usually get on the internet. So they've actually sent me that, so that's really good. So hopefully I'll have more of that from their archives. More of that from their vaults. There you go, Bill.
I got it. There we are.
Oh my God, you got the original. I've only got the 3rd edition.
Yeah, I got it.
I've got the original. Well, you got the original. I got the third edition. Bill.
Yep.
Are you ready, Bill? I'm going to ask Richard something. Are you ready, Bill? Right, ready. Go for it. Richard, anything you want to say?
Well, I got the book.
Snap.
Oh, snap. Snap.
Well done, Rich.
Right, all right then. We're gonna. I tell you what. I gotta feed the sheepses, and we'll have a 10-minute break. We'll be back at 8:28. I'll see you. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I got the book.
We're coming back, yeah?
Two books. Well.
Got pale blue. That's a cold colour, really, isn't it? Cool. A cool colour.
I came down to Stradley. I came down to Stradley. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Ah, right. Here we go. Rival, rival, husband wife. Rival, or else are we going to stab or fill? Is we were going to stab or fill? Yeah, your mind. Oh.
Have you been out and about, Richard? Annie Strumpy Dump.
Who you calling, Anne?
Hey,
Who?
Strumpy Dumpy.
Strumple Dump.
Strumpy Dump.
Well, basically, Annie Strumpledump is related to Owen Obblestrumpdump.
Right.
Right. Well, Hugh, my friend Hugh, is doing a class on Friday.
Yeah.
At 3:00.
Yeah.
And he's getting some lady from my state library.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought, you know,
Yeah, and
I thought Bill might be listening. I don't know what her name
he is listening.
I am listening.
Oh, right. I don't know who she is though. She's a historian. She's written a book about my stake, and she's coming down to talk to us about the book, I think. So.
So what's the story? It's not the Maid of Kevneville, is it? The Maid of Kevneville story?
What's the name of it?
The Maid of
Hang
Kevneville.
on. Who's the name of the lady?
Is she talking about the Maid of Kevneville?
She's talking about a book she wrote. I think
Yes.
so, yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's probably Anna Ranking.
yes, it is.
She looks after the local history room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't want it. Well, you're welcome to come if you want.
I've been to a talk many
library.
times. No, I've seen the talk many times. Thank you, ma'am. She gave the same talk about 2 months ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah, enjoy. She's good. You enjoy it. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Will Hopkin and his unrequited love.
And Owen, I was going to ask Owen because he likes local history, you see. Owen's always liked local history.
Yeah. Well, he's there.
Yeah, I don't know where he is, but you know, it is free. They don't charge because it's in the library, and it's a resource really for people. And they got well, I'm going.
Well, we're gonna crack on with the images, and
let's crack on.
Let's crack on. Let's just crack the whip, and we'll be there in a moment. The big question is, what are you seeing on the screen?
Oh, men in coracles.
Yes. Now, this is a scene that we've used in my film on Caligula, yeah. And basically, just to recap about Caligula, John Woods, a historian, believes that the word conche wasn't the collection that Suetonius and Cassius Dio, in regards to Caligula's troops collecting shells was in fact they were collecting coracles, and collecting coracles from the coast of Norfolk to prove that they'd actually been to Britain. So this is basically why we're showing this. And I don't know if you're there, Del. Anne was just talking about Hugh's talk in the library of Pencoed, I do believe, on Friday at 7 o'clock. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to crack on anyway, but I'm going to get the link of the film over to you guys. And what we're going to do is start off with this. So we've got two things left today. We've got Silchester, as I mentioned earlier on. Now, this is really interesting because it puts another take on coin and coin hoards, and it sort of links with, in a way, that what we've been talking about with this interesting hoard from Ireland today, the Boleyn hoard. And if I can get my, I've got something crop it. So this itself is one of three pots full of thousands of coins, and for some reason my oh, here we go. There was something wrong with my feed then. So archaeologists in France dig up as I say, one of three jars packed with thousands and thousands of Roman coins dating to the mid part of the 200s. So this is actually in France. This is one of the big objects with the coins in. Now these coins themselves are bronze coins, and it's believed that there's up to, and I think there's a bit confusion in the article, but one part of the article says that there's up to 24,000 bronze coins in this one vessel. I think it's more like 24,000 coins in the three vessels altogether, the three ceramic jars. Now, the one thing that strikes at me in regards to these pots full of coins is that the original ground level is actually where my hand is, right, where that's going across. They've identified that this is the ground level, and the tops of these were basically near the ground level in the Roman period of where these were placed into the ground. And most of these coins are dating from the latter part of the 300s. And if you look of the dates that some of these coins are actually found, and I think I can pinpoint this to my book. So if you look at my book, and and we're going to go to page, I think it's 138, and lots of the coins are actually from the reign of Tetricus the First and Tetricus the Second, and also the likes of Victorinus. Now, when you look at my book on page 138, the Romans in South Wales, those three emperors, right? The coins associated with those three emperors are prolific across South Wales, as they are in regards to this hoard from France. Now, it's always been, people have always wondered why these are placed into the ground. There's lots of people used to say that these were placed into the ground, and this is in a place known as Senon in France. These were placed into the ground because they meant to come back and collect them. However, if somebody's going to meant to come back and collect these coins, they would have had to have smashed these vessels open to get the coins, because you just would not have been able to get this out the ground. These three vessels with 25 well, it's actually saying 25,000 coins in, you would not be able to lift these. They did a time team which examined something similar to this, which involved 50,000 coins, and they got 50,000 coins, penny coins, from a local bank in wheelbarrows, putting them into jars in the ground, right? So obviously that's half the load, and you'd need a wheelbarrow to actually move these coins, because there's just so many of them, right? So thinking about these coins again and what they exactly mean, I don't think they're about people going back to collect these coins again. The coins themselves, the 25,000 coins, right, equate in value to I've done the figures before. I think it's I'm probably wrong, but I think the value of these coins equated to a legionary's wage for a year, right? They weren't, you know, these weren't silver coins, they were bronze coins, right? So just imagine one Roman legionary, right? Hawking these around the landscape. They're not going to do it. They would want to have been paid in silver, right? These are not garrison payments of coins. These are valueless coins. Only of value to the people who actually would have spent these. You know, would have spent these in sort of a sort of local exchange. So it does actually say that they could be associated with the payment of soldiers. Then again, it might not be. What these things mean, we don't really know. We do find a lot of these coin hoards. There's several being found in South Wales. For example, in Sully, they found more recently in Sully less coins, more like a few thousand. But again, I just want to show you these to sort of give you an idea. The coin hoards are not necessarily what people think they are, right? It's always that people are meant to go back and to collect them and sort of do something with them. It might have been that they may have just been dumped in the ground for the real reason I'm going to tell you now. When a couple of years ago, I was wandering along the road, right, because I just dropped my car off and I had a long walk along the road. A place called Llanybydder in West Wales, and I was wandering on the road and I looked down and there was about £4.50s worth of pennies dumped on the wayside, right? So I collected all these coins up, put them into my pockets, right? Brought them back, went to take them down to the local principality and said, we can't accept these coins because there's too many of them. So I just got a jar and dumped them in the garden because I couldn't do anything with them. No shop would accept these coins around here. So £4.50s worth of pennies I just dumped in the garden in a jar. And then I realized I'm doing something very similar to what they're doing here. So what we need to do, we're going to move on, right? This found recently in France. And we've got these images in regards. Hang on a minute. I did have an image earlier on. One second. I'm just trying to think. It was a new image of Caliver Barton. I may have to go back out and come back in. But I think I need to go back out of here a minute. Hang on a minute. We're just going to go back off the screen. And we're going to reset. Where's that image? Yes, if I go on a bit further, hang on a minute. I just mumble in a minute. So hang on. There we go. Right, we're gonna go back out, and I'm gonna get this on the screen, and I'm gonna sign myself off the share. A minute, stop the share, and I'm gonna come back on the share, and we're gonna go to Cleaver Atrabatum. I've got Reading University involved in this now to extend this next part of the talk, so more to come. So, are you looking at this bit of wall involving Cleaver Atrabatum?
Yep.
Silchester. Bill, I'm planning on doing my opus in regarding to all Roman stone remains in Britain when I'm 70, Bill. So if you're still around when I'm 70, Bill, we're going to go around and look at all these stone remains in Britain, right? And we're going to complete my final book, right? So, Bill, when you're 70, when I'm 70, you'll only be 90. So that'll be good. So we'll go around the country, right?
Okay, I got a deal.
With one of your dolly birds, Bill.
One of my carers in by that time.
What's that, Bill?
One of my carers then by that time.
Oh no, Bill, we're gonna have nobody caring for you. You can be out and about with me, right? So when I wanted to do this today because this is a really bit of archaeology, not just Caliver Atrabatum, with something that's actually been found at Caliver Atrabatum, right? So we're going to go to my notes, and my notes are going to come up here. And my notes about Caliver Atrabatum, we didn't actually really complete last night, like we didn't complete Fishbourne last week. So we'll be doing Fishbourne again, and so on. So Silchester itself, at Silchester, we've done this before, but only briefly, right? In Silchester, they found the remains of a pre-Roman bathhouse at Silchester. Pre-Roman bathhouse. Britain's earliest known bathing complex, ? Well, Bill and I went to the Burnt Mound on the island of Yeah,
I think it was
South Romilly, that's right. We went to the Burnt
D-Day.
Mound, so a bit of a bathhouse, basically not Neolithic, probably from about the Iron Age, right? So people have been bathing in Britain for quite a long time, right? And the point is, the argument that's always thrown at me, Carl, why do you always say that the Romans introduced all these things to Britain? And I say I don't. That's a lie. I don't say that at all. It's getting more and more evidence to say that lots of things that we attribute the Romans for doing in Roman era Britain, we already had, right? There's like a little bit of talk about Aqua Sulis, Bath, that local people were already taking advantage of the thermal springs, right? And there's even a little bit of talk about Taft's Well, but that's another story altogether. So looking at this, over the last 30 years, we've started to excavate at Caliver Atrabatum, not on my property in West Wales, but we started excavating at this site. Now, this piece of archaeology is directly above what we do fondly refer to as a pre-Roman bathing complex. And it's in this area here. And all those things that the archaeologists' cars parked whilst they're excavating the site. But underneath all of these remains here are, in fact, the earliest remains of this bathhouse complex. When most people think of bathhouses, they immediately think of the Romans. Huge public baths, heated floors, mosaics, plunge pools, and steam rooms. But what if I told you tonight that one of Britain's most sophisticated bathing complexes existed before the Roman conquest? Now, you could go down the avenue and you could say, hang on a minute, Carl, it's because some Roman geezers got to Caliver Atrabatum before AD 43, shown the local people how to build a bathhouse when we already had the technology years before in remote places like Orkney. So why couldn't the technology have actually gone south? This is exactly what archaeologists discovered at Silchester. The excavation has transformed our understanding of later Iron Age Britain, and if not before, and forces us to rethink how advanced some British communities had become immediately before the Roman invasion in AD 43. So when we talk about, for example, why the Romans were in Britain, we could put the usual tosh in there. For example, we could think about the tin mines of Cornwall, but the Romans could have accessed that without conquering Britain. You could have thought about, okay, they wanted to help some of the local tribesmen at Fishbourne, right? But the local tribesmen didn't need the Romans to build a really advanced sort of basic mosaic fresco painted complex before AD 43. They did it themselves. And so again, that area, which is in the bottom corner of Caliver Atrabatum, and the one thing about the really weird thing that we see involving Caliver Atrabatum is the shape of the city. The reason why the shape of this Roman city isn't typical playing card shape and isn't square, right, is simply because there was already something there before the Romans. Circular buildings, rectangular buildings, square buildings. All of these things existed before the Romans. And why not? Why not a bathhouse existing before AD 43? Now, understanding what I'm saying is not as easy as agreeing with what I'm saying. It needs to be expanded. A lot more than I can do in the few moments that I'm doing tonight. Caliver Atrabatum meaning the town of the Atrabates. The Romans called it the town of the Atrabates. But then again, what if the local people already called it the town of the Atrabates, or the city of the Atrabates, or the Romans would call it an Oppidum? Unlike many Roman towns, it was never built over by a modern city. Roman Londinium, modern-day London. Diva, Chester. Viraconium, Wroxeter, is an example like Caliver Atrabatum that was never built upon with a sizable modern town or city on top. There are one or two modern buildings on top, but not over the whole area. As a result, almost the entire Roman town survives beneath pasture, extensively excavated for decades, if not hundreds of years. This has made Silchester one of Britain's greatest archaeological laboratories. Now, can I talk about my thoughts when I was a child? When I was 10, I had a diary, and I wrote in that diary aims in life. One was to invade Poland, not done that yet. One was to actually get money together to actually put a roof over some of the remains over Pompeii. That's actually being done now. And this, I thought about this 40 years ago. And I wanted to buy Caliva Atrabatum, Silchester, and rebuild the Roman city, right? That's not happened. However, there's lots of archaeological excavation going on there. So Caliva Atrabatum is a great laboratory for Roman era Britain and pre-Roman era Britain and Britain's Roman era Britain, right? So we use the word Roman era to define a period, not necessarily who was in charge of the whole of Britain. So when you talk about Ireland, you might talk about Roman era Ireland, except the Romans never ever conquered Ireland. Roman era Orkney, the Romans never conquered Orkney. You get the theme. So directly underneath this building, this Roman building, this very, very Roman building, the apsidal ends either side, and those big apsidal ends are similar to the apsidal end at St. Barrack's Chapel on Barry Island. And did you know at St. Barrack's Chapel on Barry Island there is some circular Roman column bases which have been reused from another building on Barry Island, and I've actually found more than the one or two that we thought was there. Back to this site. So Caliva Atrabatum, the Iron Age settlement. So long before the Romans arrived, this was already an important settlement, a hub, a place, an entrance into the world of the Britons. So by around AD 20, it had become a tribal capital, a centre of trade, political headquarters, religious centre, wealthy community. Coins were minted here. Luxury goods arrived from Gaul. Now, that's the question. Those people bringing Mediterranean wine amphora could have been people from Rome itself, coming into a fairly advanced landscape well before the fateful date of AD 43. Clearly, this was not a primitive village. So the work being undertaken here is primarily by the University of Reading. Archaeologists have uncovered very much more than had formerly added to the picture of understanding Silchester. Initially, they thought everything that they see made of stone in Silchester was built by the Romans, but then they started dating things, and the surprise was enormous, right? Oh, hang on a minute. I've made a mistake with my technology. I've turned up my, hang on a minute. There we go. Right, hang on. Stop a minute. Okay. Right, okay. I've lost my thread on my notes a minute. Back to this. Right. So anyway, so when if you were, say, a tradesman coming from the continent, right, from Rome itself, you might see lots of familiar things in Caliva Atrabatum, including a bathhouse. Can you imagine being a Roman from Rome itself visiting a bathhouse in Britain before AD 43? And that concept is really, really odd. But this is what we're saying is actually the theme, which is actually happening. So this is an enormous surprise. This changes everything. So sometimes we make statements in archaeology, finding a bathhouse. And what I've done with the university, I've actually asked them if I can actually have a plan of the Iron Age bathhouse that predated AD 43 and then was built upon by the bathhouse that they built. Now, the big question is this that we're seeing in front of us of Roman build after AD 43? Or what we're seeing in front of us was native build after AD 43, but somebody who had a little bit of help from somebody who was able to do better things with making tiles? Big question marks. So dating the archaeology underneath this structure that's shown in front of us today, we've got pottery, Iron Age pottery, within the layers of this Iron Age bathhouse. Again, it's really difficult for me to say Iron Age bathhouse. But it's not difficult because me and Bill have seen them in places other than Calivratrapatum. So stratigraphy, coins, imported objects, radiocarbon dating, everything pointed towards construction in the late Iron Age, and probably up to a decade before AD 43. So do I interject and say this, whatever was built here was influenced by the Romans? Or do I take that away? I'm going to take that away. I'm going to say that it might be that as follows. I'm going to do this little thing, right? Before 1939, there were atomic scientists thinking about creating a bomb, thinking about fusion and fission. These are the things that were being thought about by scientists in Germany, in complete independence from scientists in Russia, completely independent from scientists in America, right? So you've got, strange enough, that you've got these three sets of scientists working on this technology, right? The Manhattan Project, they managed to develop the atom bomb in 1944. But the point is, the Germans were working on it in secret, and the Russians were working on it in secret from the Germans, right? None of these people had any knowledge what was going on, right? And the point is, this is what we're saying about the bathhouse underneath this building, right? Maybe things were being developed in Britain, which were contemporary with Roman bathhouses in the Roman Empire, but these were being influenced by the way that we were developing bathhouses. So what they've actually got, there's a tick list. Bill can back me up on this one. So the archaeology underneath this building, which is pre AD 43, they got evidence of heated rooms. Well, Bill and I have seen that technology was possible even in Orkney. Water channels, yeah, we've got water channels. We've even got water channels in evidence at places like at Skara Brae, right? So, and that dates back to the Neolithic period, thousands of years before this. So, water channel, water conduits were definitely happening, well before AD 43. Bathing areas, we know they existed. We've seen them, right? Carefully engineered drainage. Yes, we've seen that time and time again in the Iron Age, right? Sophisticated construction. Well, if you go to Orkney in Shetland, as you know, those big sort of towering brocks, right, made of dry stone, meters and meters high. People in Britain were capable of great sophistication. So thinking again, so one fascinating question concerning heating. The fully developed Roman hypercore system appears after the conquest, or does it? However, parts of the building suggest that heated bathing traditions may have already existed. We and Bill have seen them. We've seen them. We've seen them in the archaeology at South Ronaldsay, near a place known as Tomb of the Eagles. And weirdly enough, at the Tomb of the Eagles, Bill, can you remember that Second World War German ambulance bus that they had near the sauna or bathhouse, the Iron Age? Yeah, that was there. Strange that was there. So then when we think about this is the big question: whether local builders independently experimented with heating or borrowed continental ideas remains debatable. Now, I feel that it was very possible for technology to have developed independently of Rome. And why? The why is that Rome copied their technology from everybody else, right? The hypercore system, suspended floors, was not a Roman invention. It was a Greek invention, right? Lots of the technology that the Romans have got, they've nicked from everybody else. So why couldn't any of these people have developed things? So is there a continental influence, right? At Calivratrapatum, yes, we do find imported wine before AD 43. Roman tableware, Samian, masonry, and so on and so on. But is it Silchester fitting in with the mainland, the continental Europe, or is it continental Europe fitting in with what we're doing over here? Two ways of looking at this whole sort of story, trying to understand this story and trying to understand how this works with what we're looking at here. So obviously these are Roman walls. Caliver Atrobatum Silchester. So when we think about again, we're not going to do too much, but there was a king known as King Commius, right, who had traded and been an ally with Julius Caesar, Caliver Atrobatum, in regards to the Atrobates. So it might have been that in the period of Julius Caesar in 56, 55, 54 BC in regards to Britain, that heated rooms and saunas and bath houses already existed at Caliver Atrobatum, right? So the question is, Caliver Atrobatum is not really Roman. Not start again. Yeah, that's right. That's I'm doubting myself. Caliver Atrobatum is not really Roman, right? It's probably that most stuff built at Caliver Atrobatum was built by local people, including this later wall in the Roman era. Was the bathhouse, was lots of things at Caliver Atrobatum Roman or influenced by the British? Or the answer is simply both. So the builders were almost certainly native Britons of basically everything at Caliver Atrobatum throughout the whole stages before and after AD 43. So when we go back through these images again, I'm sorry I haven't got many the images associated with Caliver Atrobatum. Some of this stuff is really, really new. So when we think about, again, we think about going, hang on a minute, we think about going in from the West Gate, and there would be this massive bathing complex over on the left, right? And visitors would have seen this building. So why build a bathhouse? Why can't you just sort of, don't know, bother washing, you know? Why do you need to bathe? Well, as we all know, when you have a bath or a shower, it brightens you up. It does change your appearance. And there's a certain sense about not just being cleanly, but refreshing the body. Again, what else was this bathhouse about? It's about status. It's about politics. It's about hospitality. It's about displaying wealth. It's about conducting business. It's about entertaining important visitors. Think of it as the Iron Age equivalent of an exclusive members club. And the Romans saw this at Caliver Atrobatum as they're coming into Britain in summer of AD 43. So you're thinking that actually maybe the Romans were coming over to a place that was already wrong word. The Romans were coming over to a place that seemed similar to what the Romans did anyway. So there was a certain sense of familiarity in regards to this landscape. So imagine visiting around AD 20, daily life. You might arrive carrying imported wine from Rome itself, meet local leaders, discuss trade, hear political news, take part in ritual activities. And the inconceivable thing 20 years ago that we now know is that you would now take part in a relaxed, warm bathing rooms, surrounded by buildings that were slowly developing into first floor structures, buildings that were naturally made of wattle and daub, but they were square, and they were very similar to some of the buildings that these traders would have witnessed in France anyway, within the Roman world. All of this paints a picture very different from the traditional image of Iron Age Britain. So as we sort of gradiate towards the end today, and we sort of think about all these questions, and again we think about this landscape of Caliver Atrobatum, Silchester. Silchester quickly became one of Britain's earliest Roman towns. Silchester already existed, so that's why it became one of the Roman Empire's early towns, because they just took over, or the people become part of the Roman world. Rather than creating an entirely new settlement, they developed what already existed. Fact. The pre-Roman bathhouse demonstrates that many Roman ideas had already begun decades earlier, or our ideas had developed into what the Romans would see as familiar to what were Roman ideas, but in fact they were ours. So why is this discovery important? So what is important is that the discovery changes several assumptions, many assumptions. It shows Iron Age Britain was highly connected. British elites travelled internationally, or people travelled to us. Continental ideas spread before conquest, or were they our own ideas? Sophisticated engineering existed before Roman rule. We'll start that one again. Sophisticated engineering existed before Roman rule. We were capable of this. We had been capable of building technology that lasted thousands of years. Look, for example, at Maes Howe on the island of the mainland of Orkney, right? A well-built structure that up until the 1800s still had a nice cobbled roof on it until they broke through into it and damaged it. Me and Bill have been into structures, and Pat, on Orkney that blow your mind, going back thousands of years before the Roman era, right? We were capable of great engineering skills with dry stone. Cultural change was not gradual, or was it? It wasn't all just sudden. It wasn't all just given to us by the Romans. Archaeologists continued discussing several questions, and it's now really opening up. It's no longer the Romans came over and built roads. There were roads already here. It's not that you would go be taught by a historian. Oh, by the way, the Romans introduced coinage. They didn't. We already had coinage, right? The Romans introduced bathhouses. We already had bathhouses, right? So Britain's first bathhouse, or did many exist? A local innovation? What was the wide-ranging influence of this?
Sorry.
What was, we can probably think that when we look at Caliver Atrebatum and lots more, that the engineering was already there before the Roman period. Was this just reserved for elites? Or was this just a popular phenomenon that everyone was aware of? So the wider picture and the wider meaning of all of this is that Silchester forms part of a wider pattern, not just in one locality. Geropolis, found in the landscape of Dorset, right? This sort of new wide-ranging native town that existed that we're only starting to learn about. So other elite Iron Age centres, we're talking about Fishbourne Palace, Camel and Junum, and Verulamium, which we haven't even touched in our lessons. These settlements demonstrate increasing continental influence before AD 43. If not, we are also influencing Europe. What makes Silchester unique, unlike many sites, it survives almost completely. It wasn't destroyed by later cities. Decades of careful excavation exist. Every discovery adds to our understanding. Silchester remains one of Britain's finest archaeological sites and resources. So the conclusion over all of this, understanding all of this, so what have we learned? What have we learned tonight? What are we learning? So the pre-Roman bathhouse demonstrate Britain was not isolated. Native elites embraced new technology. Cultural exchange preceded conquest. The Roman invasion accelerated existing change rather than starting it. It just, instead of having one bathhouse, you've got dozens in Caliver Atrebatum. That's the difference. Perhaps the greatest lesson in this is history is rarely as simple as we imagine. And I know that, you know that, and that's what we do. So the final, and shh,
lift your toes, spread them apart, and place them back on the ground.
What's she on about? Right. So the final thought: the Romans undoubtedly transformed Britain, or did they? But discoveries like the pre-Roman bathhouse at Silchester remind us that Britain's Iron Age peoples were already innovative, internationally connected, and eager to adopt new ideas. Far from being conquered out of the Stone Age, they were participants in a rapidly changing European world. I thank you for taking part in tonight, and we've obviously got questions. But one last fitting point, one last thing that we need to question now, which I keep bringing up most weeks. Not my statues of Lloyd George and my relationship with Lloyd George, which I do anyway. I just want to mention that if the Romans had never conquered Britain, would this wall have still been built? And the answer is probably yes. Or then the answer is probably no, because we didn't need them. Iron Age Britain hadn't been completely changed by its Roman influence, would we still be having this lecture today? I do believe that we would be. I do believe that things would have irreparably changed in 1066 with the invasion of the Normans. I do believe that would have probably happened anyway, right? Or sometime along that timeline. The Vikings would have still invaded. Things would have, all of those things would have still happened. But I do believe that, and also when we think about Latin, right, do we still use it today? No. And it's not a language that survived in the main after AD 450 across our land. On that note, we're going to call that a day, and many thanks for joining us tonight. Me and Bill have got a bit of a bet about Richard, but that's life. Me and Bill do bets on the side. Right. Bill, yes or no?
Yeah, yes. Like I'm thinking now
right,
about I'm thinking about
go, Bill, go.
This myth that people going back into the medieval period and before stunk. They didn't wash themselves. That's probably not quite true, actually, because if the Neolithic peoples knew how to generate wet steam via the Burt Mounds in Orkney, people
really
much later would have known about that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I was thinking about that.
So dotted around the country,
let Bill talk. Go on, Bill. Go on.
So dotted around the countryside, you would have thought there'd be evidence of these mini bathhouses. Yeah. But there's not, is there? No. You go into a Norman castle, okay? As I haven't, we've all done that. Yes, you're going to find the garderobes or latrines, but there's no sort of bathing facilities I've seen in any Norman castle. So it's the intriguing question is how do people keep clean generally?
So
yeah, I've got to think about that.
We're probably tying into my 1066 date, right? So the Normans changed the culture. So whether it was a Roman culture, was Anglo-Saxon culture, was an Iron Age culture, right? The Normans would have changed that. But I agree with you, Bill, that we've got a dichotomy. Do you really believe that Iron Age people start again? Do you really believe that medieval people went around and they stank and they didn't wash? The fact of the matter is, why didn't they wash? How did they placate that? And there's all these questions that we don't have answers to. In fact, Bill, I think we've got more answers to what's going on in the Iron Age than we do in the medieval period. Right?
You can only go so many weeks without washing that you were forced. You had to wash yourself. You just had to, So, do they just jump in a river? Or did they have access to, as I said earlier, some sort of steam raising facility like a burnt mound? That's all you want is to heat stones and a bath of water and chuck them in, and you got steam. So,
Bill, can I give you a bit of it? Can I give you a bit? So we've had a really weird season with shearing sheep, right? So the best way to shear a sheep is on grass that you've just swept of any crap, right? You shear a sheep without any shoes on, right? And you've got the shears, and it's full of lanolin, and you get filthy, right? You got this, you can feel it, right? And then the next day is going to get the same, and you're building up more and more layers of crap, right? I've experienced it. By the way, Bill, I have a shower every time I shear a sheep, but I could not cope with shearing sheep day after day without a wash. It
exactly, yeah. And you live in an environment where you haven't got a modern bathroom where you don't there. So but you need to wash yourself at regular intervals, especially if you're doing hard manual work like the ones you're describing now.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to have a shower. I just, we've got a shower here. I've got to have a shower, and because at the end of the day, and then when you're eating food, right? You've got all this lanolin, you've got all these layers, and it doesn't compute. What you're saying is right. People would have washed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Pat. Anything from you?
I was just thinking about, well, how they did not long ago is bathtubs in front of fires, just fill it up, have a bath right there.
And actually, Pat, I can remember in the 1980s, my grandparents still did not have a bathroom and a toilet inside the house. Lots of houses, Richard will tell you, lots of the old terrace houses in Barry did not have bathrooms and toilets inside houses until the sort of the late 80s, right? And my grandparents was one of them in Brook Street. So I had to be washed in a tin bath when my grandparents were were looking after me in the beginning of the 80s. So and that's not archaeological evidence. A wooden tub is not gonna you're not gonna have archaeological evidence of a wooden tub in the medieval period, right? And it's something that there's gaps in the history. Anyway, anything else, Pat?
No, that's it.
Right. Okay then. Bill, you ready? Richard, anything you've got to say?
Very interesting.
Well, Rich.
Well, I got to be honest with you. Well done. Anything else, Richard?
No. Interesting subject.
Good. Right. Okay then. Actually, what we're going to do, we're going to go over to we're going to do Anne, and then we're going to do Henry, and then we're going to do Owen, and then we'll call it a night. So Owen, before I mention anything to you, I would like you to write something up about your stone markers so that we can put that in the magazine. Don't comment yet. We'll go to Anne. I want you to think about it. That's Anne, anything from you?
Oh, I was just trying to find out where Silchester was on the map.
Right. Okay, then don't do what I did, Anne, right? When I had a date with a certain woman that you knew, Anne, right?
Oh.
She said we're going to meet in Reading, right? And I looked at the map for half an hour and I said, I can't find Reading. She said it's west of London. And I said, I can't find Reading. And she said, Reading's a big place west of London, right? And the penny drop then that Reading, right, is not spelled EREDDING. It's spelled reading. So yeah, you got reading, you got the M4
so right there, is it?
And you got the Silchester southwest of there. So yeah.
Because I was going to say, I totally agree that the Iron Age had a lot going for it, and I think they would have washed, and they would have been able to heat water like we learnt, and putting hot stones in water, making steam, and I think they would have had the technology to do most of the things that were brought in by the Romans,
supposedly brought them to the Romans. I have to correct you there.
Yeah, well, exactly. We don't really know, and so it's an interesting. It was an interesting subject this week, and more food for thought,
And talking about food for thought, I wanted to say that we're trying to get more community based. We've got somebody new coming on board on Friday, and obviously with everything that we're doing, if anyone wants to be on our WhatsApp group, which we have nice little discussions now and again, I can add you to anyone to the WhatsApp group. So if you want to go on our WhatsApp group, then I can just send you a link and you can just click on it, and we have lots of different discussions about archaeology. You don't have to take part, but that's that.
Is Owen on that WhatsApp group?
Well, I'll certainly get a link to Owen. I'll get a link to everybody, and if they want to join, then they can. I've got to get the Caligula stuff out. Right. So, Henry will probably join the WhatsApp group and leave straight away. Henry, anything you want to say, love?
Probably. I have to admit, I'm really surprised. I've had a look at the Irish Boleyn site, and how they ever found any items is beyond me, because it's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Do you know what? Right, it took me a while to find it on the map. In fact, when you look at the Boleyn site, it goes to is it another one of the count? There's several Boleyns, and it just would not come up. And eventually, I had to go back to it, and I thought, right, it is this place. Yeah, you are right. It is in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, it's not near any rivers. It's not near the coast. So it's just a bit baffling.
And the question is, what is it doing there? It's not on the coast. It's not, it's in the middle of nowhere like lots of other finds. And you're just thinking, well, I think people need to bring their necks in and basically say, right, there is a lot of Roman archaeology in Ireland. It's not an invasion, right? Is it trade? Is it this? Is it everything, right? And it's over a long period of time. Right. And I think that's the important thing. And I don't think it's been examined enough. It's not a subject that I want to do any much more work on than I'm doing. Right. But it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the area it's in, I know for a fact there's a lot of Iron Age sites and bits and pieces bobbing around.
Yeah.
So there is a community there. There's quite a strong community spread across the area, but it's all very remote.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you've got Loch Gurd, which is just north of it, which is actually a really important area. There's an awful lot of actual finds. There's a stone circle there and everything.
Yeah, it sounds a fascinating landscape, but it's also a landscape that has got a lot of medieval stuff as well. And it's a landscape that needs to be fed into all the other sort of interactions. And I think, I think the problem is with Ireland is that it's always been linked with Europe, but in a way it tries to keep its sense in the world within Ireland. But when we look at the Beaker people, where there's a massive link with Ireland, but it's like all this stuff about Christianity. There's so much going on, right? And it's this island that can tell a lot more than is actually out there. And I tell you what, wouldn't it be an interesting thing to have a museum in Ireland that just has Roman archaeology? That would really mess with your head.
Oh, you need to visit the National Museum because it actually will put pretty well every museum in this country to shame.
I've heard it's pretty good. Yeah, I have heard. Yeah, I have heard it's pretty good. So, right. Okay. Other than adding you all to the WhatsApp group, and I'll send you the Caligula link, all we got to do now is ask Del. Del.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
Owen Upplestrom. Go on, Del.
That was fascinating. And I believe that people did keep clean.
Why not?
Yeah. Be offensive. How come they had so many kids?
Yeah.
No, but there were ways and means, even if it was just a quick wash with cold water, stream, wells, things like that, even steam baths.
And why not? It's about, to be honest with you, working in the countryside is an extremely dirty pursuit.
Yes.
And being covered in sweat, piss, poo, and all the rest of it that you get from animals.
Yes.
I know I put a smile on Anne's face, but this is the reality. Do you know, I when I'm shearing a sheep, for example, right? A sheep defecates a lot, right?
Yes.
And you can imagine that that's going on me as well, right? And it's a new set of clothing, right? And the other thing as well is that you've got other animals that can smell you, and it's like it doesn't make it doesn't because it's layers and layers. You don't want those layers as layers. You need to get rid of it, and it's not about being clean. It's about being comfortable, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about germs here. We're talking about being the next day. You want to get into the next day, and okay, when your clothes are covered in all this crap, right? You're going to change your clothes, right?
Yes.
That event of changing your clothes, is a sense of cleanliness, right? And
well, the thing is, there were plants, there were herbs. They got
Yes.
sapping in to make soap
yes,
or some sort of stuff.
yes,
You know, they had the ways and means to make these detergenty things
yes,
to get rid of all the muck.
yes,
You know,
yes, yes.
it's just
yeah.
that these days we go to the supermarket. We don't go up the field or up the woodlands and pick the stuff and make it ourselves.
Do you know what, Del? The other day, Michelle said, "Right, we've got to eat more local. We've got to eat more of our stuff." So we cut a load. We cut a load of our own rhubarb, and we just added some tin custard to it. Obviously, I know it's tin custard, but the rhubarb was really, really nice. And there are people did use what they've got around them, and why not do all these things that we've discussed?
Oh yeah, but you can't eat the leaves of rhubarb, but you could cut them up and use them as lav paper.
Oh, you can cut them up and use them as bedding. Well, there you go.
Yes.
I know Owen's thinking of going out to live on Margam Mountain.
Oh no, Owen's going to live here. He's you guys are all members. You can come to West Wales anytime. Bill's limited for coming to West Wales because he'll bring all his totty with him, and I don't want, I don't want to have to have Bill here with one woman, and the next time he comes with another woman, and then I've got the other woman says, "Oh, did you see Andrea with Bill last time?" "Oh no, I didn't. I've never met Andrea." At one stage, I'll forget all the names of Bill's women, and I'll be in deep trouble.
Send me directions to get to you.
Bill, I'm gonna get that over to you now. So we'll send that via text. Yeah.
Hugh.
Right.
Not Hugh. Owen. Could I tell you about the Pencoed History Group? It meets once a month, and it's on this Friday in Pencoed Library. And it's the lady who wrote the book about the Maid of Penidva.
Right.
I think they would be fascinated to hear about your farm, your family's farm, because they are really interested in local history.
Right.
So you can either come on Friday, and you're very welcome.
I can't do a Friday.
Okay, well, we'll try another day then, and maybe you could just come and talk. Have a talk.
And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a new community, and we're trying to get more done. So that's what we're doing.
That's Hannes. Oh, you
yes.
mean we're going to do it together, are we? Oh, yeah.
We're all working together, man. We're basically, we're all a family, right? Dell's my big brother. Yeah. Richard is my uncle, right? Bill is the religious element in all this. Anne is something else. Henry's our world explorer, and Pat's just Pat. So there we go. Right. Anyone got anything else to say before we finish?
No, just good night.
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate everybody's support. So I'm going to say good night to everybody online. I'm going to say good night to Bill, Owen, Henry, Richard, Pat, and Anne. I'll get that all over to you. Thank you very much. Night night, guys.
Good night,
next
everyone.
Wednesday.
Have a good, safe week.
Bye.
And you, Henri. Take care.
Are you going to meet her next week, Henry?
I have to check the global calendar.
Oh, right. Okay. You might be going away.
I need to move around.
Yeah,
Michelle's
trying to get me off to. Michelle said, "You're not going to do that job in Hong Kong, are you? You're not going to be away from me for a month, are you?" And I'm thinking, what's she trying to say?
Yeah, but you haven't got a passport.
Oh, I have got a passport, but it looks nothing like me.
You got a what?
And you haven't paid the visa fees either.
Oh, that's true. I don't. Now you're putting things in the way. Have you been speaking to my missus?
Anyway, enjoy yourself.
She's trying to get rid of me, for God's sake. Right, anyway, that's fine.
Yeah, we all need to
have a look at the Pompeii link. It is quite interesting.
I've actually got a lot to do tonight, so I'm gonna and I have appreciated those emails you sent me, including that site in North Wales, which I'm trying to fit in with the magazine.
Yeah, that wasn't very good.
No, and I actually Michelle was reading out a feed on Facebook, and it was basically several people were actually clocking the fact that these tracks that have been going up to this prehistoric site have been made over quite some time, and Cadw have just not bothered doing anything about it.
And the Cardiff Museum.
Oh, that's been on the cards for a long time. But as you know, with these things, when they close, do they ever back open again?
Well, I don't think so. But as I say, what you do need to do is take a trip to the Dublin Museum, because I think you will be actually knocked sideways by their displays.
A day is it? I think.
Hold on, you broke up
or at
there.
least with these museums. With these museums, a day is never enough.
Not that one. It is. Yeah,
Can you hear
it's
me?
really big,
Yeah.
and it's really worth going to see. It's a real experience.
Yeah, and it does sound majestic. So I'll see what I can sort out.
Anyway, enjoy your week if you can.
Enjoy your week, and I will see you next week.
And Equity might be a good phone number for your car insurance.
When what equity? Not equity as in the agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm in equity.
Yeah, ask them about car insurance for actors.
You're joking. You've looked this up, have you?
No, I'll leave you to do that.
Oh, you bastard! Right, okay. Then. I'll that's another thing. Am I supposed? Yeah, all right then.
It's another job.
What's that?
Another job.
Equity. I'll have a look. I'll have a look. Equity insurance. All right, and I'll have a look. Okay, then I will. Go on.
Well, they might not insure three-wheeled cars, so you'll have to see.
I was livid. It was like because I went with Sterling Insurance on Sunday, and it was like, right, okay, everything was fine, and it was like 700 and whatever quid, right? And the woman, I spoke to this woman today. She said, right, we've either got to cancel your insurance, and I've said I've only just joined, and she said that the reason why, right, you can't make this up, right? The reason why somebody looked your name up and they found out you've been in some big films. Therefore, you're not a teacher, are you? You're an actor. And I said, right. And he said, right. That means your premium is £250 more because actors are higher risk than somebody who teaches online.
You want to change your name?
Well, I could change my name to you and give them your address.
Then you definitely won't have any insurance in this country.
No, definitely not.
You would somewhere else, but never mind. Right.
Yeah, brilliant. All right then. Okay, really appreciate that. Keep it coming in, and I'll speak to you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Take care. Night, Henry.
Bye.
Night. Right, guys. Anybody else watching online, right? And I know you guys like a bit of entertainment, right? I've just been teaching my archaeology class. I've got to go out and I've got to fondle the goats, right? I've got to get the goats in. So in a short while, I'm going to go over and I'm going to do a live via the YouTube platform, right? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join my channel. Fondle my sheep, and I will be back soon. I'm going to do a live from the woodland, right? I'm going to go and get the sheep. I do a live from the woodland, and I might do a bit of late night painting as well. We might do some painting in the dark. I might do the painting first and then do a live. What do you think? Anyway, right. Okay, I've got to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and no fondling any dromedaries. Can't get them in Wales. And diolch yn fawr chi nos da. So you go. Nothing in the chat box. 1, 2, 3. Nothing in the chat box. 4, 5, 6. Nothing there. 7, 8, 9. Under that chat box. 10, 11, 12, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I can't get that one closed. Okay. Okay. Nosta, like and subscribe. I'll be on soon on a live, probably after 10. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Nosta, diolch yn fawr i chi. Night, guys. Night.